Welcome to Reflecting Light. This podcast is about filling the world with light by exploring myth, ancient texts, scripture, great works of world literature, and the works of artists, past and present, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. And now, here is your host, Mandy Green.
Hello. Welcome to Reflecting Light. I'm your host, Mandy Green. It's so great to be with you. Welcome to the month of May. It's a blessed month. On the docket, I just got back my dates for the Forbidden France pilgrimage. It's called Forbidden France in Search of the Black Madonna. The dates for that will be next April 17th through the 28th. I know I said I wasn't doing any tours while I was in school, but I enjoyed this one so much. And it just turns out that I have 5 weeks between my semesters right then. So we're going to go for it. It is going to be limited. I'm only taking 15 people again because of the nature of the quest and that it's a pilgrimage and all of those good things. So we do have dates if that's something you'd like to do. Get your name turned into Forbidden Adventure. That's at forbiddenadventure.com. I don't have pricing yet, but I assume it will be somewhat close to the other tour that we're doing actually this year. I will not be the guide. Like I said, I will be in school, but this one is called Grail Legends, the Knights Templar, and Alchemical Traditions. My partner, Marie Shelton, will be conducting that. She's done a lot of work with alchemical texts and with Arthurian legends. You'll visit Cornwall. You'll visit Merlin's Cave. She has special access to Stonehenge the day after the fall equinox. And super exciting, she has gotten an agreement with Margaret Barker to lecture our group. So she's going to be giving a special lecture for that particular tour. Yes, I am devastated that I won't be there to hear it, but Margaret Barker is the woman, and that will be an amazing opportunity to go listen to her. In addition, Tom Bree is going to be lecturing with her. Now, if you don't know about Tom Bree, he is an amazing teacher of sacred geometry. He's done some wonderful classes with the Prince's Foundation. Now it's the King actually, but the Prince Foundation School of Traditional Arts. And some of you ask about sacred geometry and how to learn. Those classes are amazing and they show up every once in a while. So be watching for that. In fact, one of our local artists, I believe, just taught a class through the Prince Foundation about the Cosmati pavement at Westminster. I sadly did not find out about it in time to sign up, but that's a great place to look for hands-on classes about sacred geometry. Anyway, Tom Bree's the man. I actually signed up to take a sacred geometry class with him in person at Wells Cathedral last year, and turns out there are 2 airports in Little Belfast, which I didn't know. So I missed my flight and was not lucky enough to meet Tom Bree in person and take his class, which, you know, it's a sore subject. I'm still a little miffed about it, but Tom Bree's the man. He also has a wonderful book coming out, I believe, at the end of summer about sacred geometry, and you can pre-order that on Amazon. I'll put a link in the show notes because I do get a lot of questions about sacred geometry, and Tom Bree knows his stuff. What I love about him is that he's so accessible. He's able to bring you into that world and open you to it in a way that is so accessible. Those 2 people will be speaking as part of that tour in England, September 13th through the 25th of this year. Single occupancy is $3,700, double is $4,700. So if you're interested in that, that's going to be an amazing experience. Hymn of the Pearl is in. Bless the postal system. And all of the pre-orders have been mailed out. So if you ordered it, be looking for it in the mail. It should be there. And if you would like to order it, please visit thehymnofthepearl.com. We actually have it now, and it's beautiful. We're so proud of that work. It's Mother's Day, so if you want to arrange a pickup for Mother's Day and order some books as gifts, you could probably arrange that. So just email me, reach out to me, or email Hymn of the Pearl, thehymnofthepearl.com, and maybe you could arrange something that way. Along with that, I am going to be doing a book signing with Lori Driggs on July 8th at Purify Wellness Center. I'm always getting requests for live events, so this will be an amazing opportunity. It's a live event. It's July 8th. We will sign books from 6 to 7. I will give a 1-hour lecture, Q&A, about the Hymn of the Pearl, probably lecture for about 40 minutes and take questions for the next 20. And then we will go into the sound bath that's being offered by Holly Draper at Purify Wellness Studio. And if you've never had a sound bath, you are in for a treat because our bodies have such a high percentage of water. Sound waves are able to travel through that water in our bodies and relax us and heal us and reset us. And so I thought that would be a great way for us to get together and learn good things and experience peace and restoration. Now, there is a limit of 40 people for that space. Lots of good stuff in store. Excited to have you as part of it. Now, this kind of brings me to my point of this podcast. I experienced a major birthday this week, crossed over into my 5th decade of life. I know. How am I 50 years old? I'm going to own it. Gosh dang it. I mean, what is it with women and feeling like aging is bad? I don't feel like it's bad at all. Sure, I don't love how gravity behaves on my physical body, but the wisdom that one acquires through life and learning to let go is actually a really beautiful thing. So for today's podcast, I wanted to share with you 50 things I've learned in my first 50 years. My husband was so nice. He reached out to some friends and acquaintances and people and had them write in experiences or places we had been or great memories or things they loved. And he wanted me to say, if anyone out there wants to send it in, feel free. I feel really self-conscious doing that, but it was so neat to live and laugh and remember things I had forgotten and really be reminded that relationships are the currency of the realm, my friends. Even though those are pieces of paper or cards or electronic messages, I'm telling you, all of that will go with me. All of those beautiful memories, all of those relationships. And I am so eternally grateful for each of those people and each of those memories. So if you want to contribute, by all means, jump on the party train, right? We'll be celebrating. We kind of have a joke that we celebrate birthdays all month. So Mandica will be celebrated all month long. And since I am an Enneagram 4, of course, I always have playlists. So I have a playlist that goes with each of these 50 things. If you want access to the playlist, it's in the show notes. Hopefully I'll have time to actually make the playlists on Apple and Spotify and share those with you. But if not, you've got the building blocks. So here we go. 50 things I've learned in my first 50 years of life. First thing, Earth life is a gift. Sometimes it's easy to lose perspective. It's easy to forget that we came here from our own free will and choice, and that there was an amazing opportunity presented to us at being here that made us want to jump. Now, we kind of feel like idiots because we were in the presence of gods, angels, and witnesses who made us feel like we could totally do this, no problem. And when we lost our memory of that, of course, we tend to forget really easily that this earth life is a gift, but it is a gift. And it's so important to remember that. And for the song for that, I have Bend or Break by Keane, which is just such a great song about if I don't bend or break, I'll meet you on the other side. And how all of these tests and trials of this life are meant to make us stronger, make us better. Number 2, experience is what we're after, not perfection. Creation, fall, atonement, or at-one-ment. Brother Halverson at BYU talks so much about creation, fall, and at-one-ment. And I'm so struck by that. That's what it's about. It's not about perfection. You've heard me talk about this in the Genesis account. It's not about perfection. It's not about having a happy, perfect life. It's about growing. It's about learning from our own experience to prize the good from the bad. For that song, I have Little Giant by Rue Paynes, which says, start small, grow tall. And it's about him finding God, and that God was encouraging and kind and made him want to become more than he was. It's a beautiful song. If you hadn't listened to it, have a listen. Number 3, become like a little child. Childhood is really seriously underrated. I've had a lot of experience in the last probably decade to appreciate and reverence childhood. These spirits are so close to heaven, so close to their remembrance of what was there, and we kind of beat it out of them. And it probably was beaten out of you. So don't let your imagination die. And at the very least, don't kill it in others. Recognize what a gift childhood is. Recognize what a gift all the things that children do are. And find time to appreciate that. The song for that one is Heroes by David Bowie. You know, imaginations, play, all of it matters. Number 4, there's room for all of us. If you ever watch children play, they are so inclusive. I'm talking about little kids. And hopefully there's not a toy involved in nursery. But for the most part, kids can make friends so easily on a playground, at the store, at a restaurant. They are so easy to talk to someone, to talk to anyone, and tell them about their life and make a friend. And I think that's something childhood can also teach us, that there's room for every single one of us, no matter how we are, no matter how we show up, there's room for all of us. And that's the ultimate goal. Holding Out by the Lumineers is the song I have there. Next one, feel your feelings. Don't apologize for showing who you are and what you feel. It's difficult to be vulnerable, but show up as you are, no matter how sappy, no matter how that looks to others. I wrote this, I've kind of done this in a chronological order, going through moments in my life where I had these epiphanies, so to speak. And I remember at a young age really being quite tenderhearted, but hating to show that. It kind of was seen as, well, I had older brothers and I don't want to say this because they're wonderful people, but it was seen as a sign of weakness, to cry or to feel love or to express sappy rapture at something. And I remember hiding behind the couch because I was bawling my eyes out at Savannah Smiles when they arrest the guys at the end. I just couldn't handle it. And I was back behind the couch hiding because I hated that people would see me like that. And I realized what a beautiful strength that is, to be able to show what you feel and show it unapologetically. I have a daughter whose language is tears in many ways, and she's taught me so much about being beautiful and vulnerable and showing up as you are. The song for that is I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley, because that's a classic. And I think in our cynical world, we're so quick to not show that we're in love or not show our rapture at something. And that's just inviting you to own it. Next one, whether you can or cannot, dance. Dancing is magical. We should all have the soul of dancers, even if we can't actually dance. Be a fool. Enjoy what is there when it's there. Weird is good. Get out there. Express yourself. At our wedding last week, there was so much dancing and celebration. And I literally felt the magic in that. I felt the fun and the celebration and the joy of everybody out there just being themselves, having fun, laughing, exerting energy, jumping around, whatever it looked like. It was all fantastic. So in your life, it's essential that you dance. Song for that is Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake. I was on a tour with John Hall in France, and I was talking to his wife, and that song came on, and we both started dancing. And it turns out that was her dream, to dance in a public square in France. And I'm so glad we took the opportunity to dance and be silly and fulfill that dream of hers. It is a core memory for me, for sure. Next thing, Kermit the Frog is about the best thing there is. Next to Piggy, I can't decide. They're yin and yang. They're two sides of the same coin that have these very polar opposite attributes. But where would I be without the Muppets? Oh my goodness. Kermit was my first love. Miss Piggy was the first feminist I ever knew. And if you haven't in a while, or for a really long time or ever, go listen to the Rainbow Connection from the Muppet movie soundtrack. Jim Henson was a rare soul, and he brought that magic into my world. Next one, find your people. I always say friends are the family that you choose. Find your people and hold them close. Love them fiercely. The fellowship is real. The force is real. We meet others at certain times for certain reasons, and it's important that we hold them close and love them. And understand that maybe we don't have to always have them tied to us, but we can appreciate this beautiful kaleidoscope or patchwork of life that all of the people who have come into our life have contributed to it. But find your people. Find your people and love them hard. Next one, a great teacher is priceless. I've been blessed with many, many great teachers in my life. As a kindergartner, I had this teacher, Mrs. Davis, who did this big Hawaiian luau that I still remember. And Mrs. Squire, who I loved in second grade, and who would give out these awards with 2 stickers on them. And stickers were the currency of the realm in elementary school. And then in 4th grade, I was super lucky to have a teacher named Mr. Swallow. And Mr. Swallow just absolutely encouraged creativity and humor and expression and learning and all kinds of things in his classroom. In fact, we had so much fun that he moved up a grade to be with us. And I was lucky enough to have him in 5th grade. We didn't get English books that year for some reason. So you could either do all of these worksheets on English grammar, or you could write your own poetry book. And so my best friend and I wrote our own poetry books that year. Mine was called Under the Sea, Where the Oysters Be and You and I Can See. And it was an amazing experience for me, even though it's really bad poetry. One's about burnt cookies that taste like burnt Wookiees. Yeah, I read a lot of Dr. Seuss. But the point is that he really, really cultivated this creativity in us and developed us as people and allowed us to be exactly who we are. And at the end of that year, we put on these big programs in 4th grade, of course, about Utah. And in 5th grade, it was about the United States. And I'll never forget that Mr. Swallow donned a wig and one of his wife's robe, came out and danced the can-can with about 5 of us. I am so grateful that Mr. Swallow is part of my life. So, of course, the song for this is The Can-Can by Offenbach. It's a classical piece, if you didn't know, but thank you, Mr. Swallow. Next one, Sunshine on My Shoulders makes me happy, preferably with an ocean. I think we just need the sun and all things testify of Christ. But I'm one of those people who needs a lot of vitamin D, and I also need the ocean. And I am living in a landlocked place, but find a moment to go feel the sun on your face, to enjoy that warmth, to put your feet in the sand or the snow or the leaves, whatever it is that floats your boat. Get outside. Get outside and enjoy it. The song for that, of course, is Sunshine on My Shoulders by John Denver. Next one, don't save up for a rainy day. Don't wait to live your life until it's over. Don't wait to see the magnificent things you wanted to see and experience the things you wanted to experience. Take them now. For many, many years, I've tried to live without regret. I try to live as if my life ended tomorrow, I wouldn't have anything that I was still holding on to. I've read that they say use the nice silverware or wear the good lipstick or whatever it is. Don't save up your life for a rainy day or when you retire or when everything lines up perfectly in the stars. It's my experience that those things don't really happen. But when you have enough of an alignment, when you have enough of a window of opportunity to take it. I learned this from my amazing, wonderful mother-in-law who, with her husband, had these great plans to visit the world when he retired. And just a few years short of that, he suffered a severe stroke. And they never, ever had that opportunity. And she was always kind of sad about that. And so I'm so grateful. It was actually my very first international trip outside of being a missionary that I'd always wanted to see Paris. I dreamed of seeing these pieces of art. And she said, you need to go. You need to go. Even though we had little kids, she watched our children, and Brent and I were able to go take that trip. And that was really what began travel for me. And I will always be grateful for that. So do that. And the song for that is I Lived by One Republic. Just get out there, see it, do it, say it, embrace it. Next one, you are always more and better than you think you are. We really don't have a great idea, a great lens on ourselves. I don't know where we get this negative mind talk, but just be yourself. It's honestly way too exhausting for me to try and be anyone else. Early on in life, I tried to fit in, I tried to conform, but I never felt like I matched up with everyone. I really didn't feel like that was my jive. I was just pretending. You are more and better than you think you are, so be yourself. The song for that is This Is Me from The Greatest Showman soundtrack. Own it. Love it. I have that one for 1985, 7th grade. That's when I really felt so self-conscious and so worried about how I was perceived. And you know what? It just doesn't matter. You are who you are. Next one, you will always need good music in your life. Always. The Smiths single-handedly got me through adolescence. And so find your music. Good music, you'll always need good music in your life. Good music will see you through. At least this playlist, most of these songs are songs that have really inspired me or seen me through. I couldn't pick a favorite Smith song. And so I think my favorite song of all time is All I Want Is You by U2. So that's going to be the song for this one. You have to listen to the whole version. The entire long, 7-minute version, because it's like this beautiful crest of a wave. All right, next one. Trust the part of you that knows. Listen to your gut. Your pearl is calling. You really do know. Your gut really does know. If you have a bad feeling about something, walk away. If something doesn't add up, it probably doesn't add up. If something feels good, even though it doesn't make sense, it's probably good. And so listen to your gut. Hone into your divine identity and give that some weight. In our Western tradition, we're very quick to only look at things from the analytical mind, and we tend to not weigh our feelings, but your feelings matter. And your gut actually is very, very wise. So listen to your gut. The song for this is Glorious. That there are these beautiful heavenly things that do call to you. And when you start to listen to them, it will make a profound difference in your life. Next one, experience is a brutal teacher. There's no going backward, only forward. Hindsight is 20/20. So you know what? You do the best with what you have when you have it. And you can learn from everything, even if it didn't go well, even if it was terrible. I guarantee you learned a lot from it. I know I've learned so much from the things that were particularly painful for me. And that's part of why we're here. So don't go back, go forward. I've read that depression comes from living in the past and anxiety comes from living in the future. If you're bound to reflect on the past a lot, I found that it's really amazing to look at all the things you learned from that experience and how you really can't learn those any other way, and to give yourself some grace and love in that respect. The song here is The Scientist by Coldplay. My son, Indiana, this is one of the first songs he learned to play on the piano. I can't hear the first chord of the song without getting verklempt, but it's just so reflective of this beautiful alchemy that happens when we learn. It's like C.S. Lewis, you learn. And so it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel all those things, but appreciate it. All right. Next one. All you need is 20 seconds of profound courage. We learned this from We Bought a Zoo. My kids love this. I've actually seen it exemplified in their lives. If there's something that's really daunting to you or somebody you want to talk to, usually it was someone that they were in love with or wanted to give flowers to or profess their love or something, all you need is 20 seconds of profound courage. Now, you may feel like a total fool after that, but it's amazing what 20 seconds can buy you. When I wanted to go to Jerusalem, I remember thinking, all I have to do is get on that plane. All I have to do is take that 20 seconds and turn around and walk away. Or all I have to do is for 20 seconds, be true to what's inside of me. And I love that. The song for this one is Bizarre Love Triangle by New Order, because this is when I was in junior high, high school, and you were trying to be so sneaky and clever about who you liked. And it was just this, well, I love that song. It's probably my favorite New Order song, but it's this whole idea of if someone doesn't like you, then you'll know pretty quickly. Or you could crack open something that wasn't there. So 20 seconds is all it takes. Next one today is Not Forever. With all of the mental health crises that we see today, it's so important that today is not forever. That maybe this year or these months aren't forever. Your life is not consigned to utter despair and rejection and sadness and all of these things that are part of this human life. Today is not forever. And it's important when I get down to remember that. The song for this is Boy by The Killers. I think as a youth, it's so difficult to see yourself with possibility, to see yourself as heaven sees you, to see yourself as worthwhile, or that you're ever going to outlive these humiliating or embarrassing moments or your failures or when you crashed and burned or whatever it was. And so today is not forever. Even long stretches still aren't forever. You will still see the sun shine at some point, and trust that. Trust that there's so much more for you if you will hang on and hold tight. And if you have to hold so tight, you do it. You do it. I've had some very dark moments. And I remember my husband giving me a blessing, and he said, "You have many days of sunshine ahead of you." At that moment, at that part in my life, I really didn't know that I would ever feel happy again, that I would ever feel the Spirit again or feel hope again. And I swear to you, you will. Today is not forever, and you hold on. Next one, when you discover your thing, something you love, pursue it. It was in 11th grade that I took Mrs. Gardner's humanities class at Mountain View High School, and that really changed the trajectory of my life. She had us listen to opera, and oh my goodness, where has this been my whole life? I loved it so much. We looked at fine art. We looked at all kinds of amazing things. And that's what propelled me to study the humanities when I went to college. So when you discover something or that thing that lights you up, pursue it. The song for this is Che Gelida Manina, or Your Cold Little Hand from the opera La Boheme. Maybe it's cheesy, but that is my favorite opera. And every time I hear Rudolfo sing that he has the soul of a millionaire and sing about Mimi's little hand, I'm just totally swept away. It's something amazing. Next one, education is a wonderful investment that pays amazing dividends. Educate yourself. Now, I'm not saying this has to be formal education. This could be travel. This could be life. This could be taking a class. This could be going on an experience. This could be running a co-op or teaching or whatever it is. It's important that you're always learning. It's important that travel, life, all of those things. Life's a great teacher, but make sure you're out there in it, learning from it. We can always be learning. The song for this is Pumping Blood from No No No. It's one of my theme songs when I have to get pumped up to go out and do something crazy. When you feel your heart beating, when you feel the adrenaline, when you feel the fear, when you feel all those things, when you maybe have not been able to keep food down for a day or two, let me tell you what, you're alive, you're living, and it's something that amazing is coming your way. Or you're in the middle of something amazing. Even if it guts you, you will learn. And education is also something that we take with us. Everything we learn becomes part of us and travels with us. Next one, hearts break. And they hurt like crazy. And they still keep on beating. We all experience heartbreak in this life. There's no way around it. No matter how much you try to protect yourself or insulate yourself from it, and I tried really, really hard, it just will come to you. That's part of humanity. It's part of the experience here. And there's so many things that we can learn from heartbreak. It's interesting to me that according to one Harvard Medical Review, they said that they felt Jesus actually died of a broken heart, that his heart burst. So keeping our hearts intact and perfect and unaffected clearly isn't what life's about. It's about spending that and investing that. And yes, the bigger the heart you have, the more you will hurt. But the bigger the heart you have, the more you will also feel joy. That came from my son's pediatrician, Keith Clayton, probably one of the most gentle, Christ-like men ever to be in the world in this last century. And he looked at one of my children and said, this one has a tender heart. He's going to feel it, but he's also going to feel more joy because of it. So for what it's worth, after my heart was initially broken, I was always a little gentler with other people's hearts. And hopefully we learn from that to be gentle. And what's so interesting to me in our lives, for me, is this idea of honesty and heartbreak, because sometimes we aren't really honest with people we love because we're trying to shield that heart, or we think we're shielding theirs. And I'll never forget, I was in a situation and thought I was being kind and gentle to someone's heart, and the Spirit just said, "Why are you protecting that heart? Your failure to disclose and be upfront and honest is actually more hurtful than helpful." And I've never forgotten that. So honesty is kinder in the long run. Do what you will with that. It's messy stuff. For this, of course, I have this epically tragic song called Last Night I Dreamt That Somebody Loved Me by the Smiths. If you ever experience heartbreak, this is your song, right? This is your song. Just go wallow and feel all the feelings. Next one, temptation is real. Temptation is real. You don't escape it. Perhaps the more close you get to heaven, the more powerful those temptations come. I remember feeling as a missionary, I was getting so close to heaven, and yet it felt like my deficiencies were just so huge that the closer I got, the bigger those came, or the temptations became quite tremendous. This particular experience I'm referencing happened the year before I went on a mission. So I'd always wanted to serve a mission. There was no question. I didn't really care about boys too much at that point. I really just wanted to serve a mission. Well, arrogance will get you every time. And 1993, I got my keister knocked to the ground, and it was so hard. It was so hard. And I remember just thinking, I don't care if I burn in hell. And yet something in me said, you actually do. This is not something you want to do. And I would ride my bike till it exhausted me because I would just be kept up all night. And that really was a definitive moment in my life when, in spite of everything I felt, and in spite of the fact that I couldn't feel the light and I couldn't feel those things, I knew what I wanted. And I knew that in the long run, I knew that deep down, and I was going to have to just fight like crazy to resist temptation. I love when Dumbledore says, it is our choices that define us. Actually, the direct quote is, it is our choices, Harry, that show who we truly are, far more than our abilities or our temptations or our circumstances. And in another book, he says, dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy. We all have to choose what is right over what is easy, and that takes some serious fortitude on our behalf. So I would just say, it's real. It's out there. It will test you. It will take you to your limit. Decide what is right and stay away from what is easy when it comes to temptation. The song for this is Into Temptation by Crowded House. I don't even know how many times I listened to this. Next one. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to say hello. This is for when I went on my mission. I had a great life. I had great friends, great things going on. But again, I knew what I wanted to do. I just had no idea what waited for me out there. And it took all I had. Go to the MTC and stay there. Now, like I said, I'd always wanted to go, but I think I cried myself to sleep the first 10 days. I was just trying to hold it in the whole time. I felt like I was going to die. I didn't know how I could survive. And sometimes we have to say goodbye to the old things or the old life or the old loves or the old experiences in order to say hello to the new ones. If you want to learn, if you want to experience life, you have to say goodbye to say hello. And it's so fabulous when the people we love that we're saying goodbye to are invested in with us on that journey. For the song, I have What I Wish Just One Person Would Say to Me by Lainey. Boy, if you're at a crossroads, if you're going on a mission, if you're saying goodbye, if you're moving any of those things, this is a great song. Next one, definitely a mission song. It's going to cost you nothing less than everything. Sanctification is an all-in proposition. It will cost you everything. I thought I could scrape by. I thought I could give just about everything. 99.8, 99.9. And there was God just saying, put it on the altar. I got really sick as a missionary. I got hepatitis from the homeless lady in the field that we used to go visit there at the Orange Line in Moscow. And I just thought, I can't go home. This is all I want in the world. I would pray, but I would just say my prayer and jump into my bed. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not listening. And it came to the point where it was like, just put it on the altar, Mandy. All of it. And I don't know how many times I went up to that altar and I would put it on and then pull it off. Or I'd put it on and keep a piece for myself, or put it on but not let go. I did every possible scenario of that. And it wasn't until I learned the beauty of true surrender and I chucked that thing on that altar and I turned around and I walked away that I was actually delivered from that illness and able to stay on my mission. But the lesson was deep and it's stuck. And it's always going to cost us everything. If you want to know heaven, it's all got to be put on the altar. Song for this is Pray Your Gods by Toad the Wet Sprocket. Kind of a sad, morose song, but it's just finding the strength to put it up there and walk away. Next one is live with passion and purpose. Is there any other way to live? Oh my goodness. I remember reading that William Blake said, exuberance is beauty. Now, this is probably just a Mandy thing, but when you find your life's purpose or your passion, they usually intersect and interlock. And I can't help but get lit up and joyful about all of the things that have to do with the things I love and my purpose in being here. So light on fire and let others feel it. The song for this is Fire and the Flood by Vance Joy. I love feeling other people's passion. It grows mine. When I'm with people who are passionate and interested about what they're talking about, it's contagious, my friends. I'll find myself like totally just like in rapture over this botany lecture, or I listened to Andrew McCullough talk about 1776 and you were there, you felt it, and it was such an amazing experience. So whatever it is, and I'm not saying you have to display it like I do, but gosh dang it. If you don't know what lights you up and what makes you feel fire and passion and purpose, pray for that. Pray for that. It is the most joyful thing in my life. And sharing it is even more joyful, obviously, as you can hear. It's my favorite thing. All right, next one. Death and rebirth are a divine pattern. From the microcosmic to the macrocosmic, we all die and we're all born again. And I think this happens several times over our lifetimes. We may have people who died in our lives who we must trust are born again, who go to new life. But even in my own life, I've had to learn to say goodbye or mourn the death of all of the previous versions of myself. There was a time when I came back from Israel, and I can't explain what happened to me when I was over there by myself with bombs going off and learning Hebrew and coming alive spiritually in the face of really significant obstacles and moments and experiences. And when I came home, I'll never forget my good husband looking at me like, who are you? And I felt this massive dissonance between who I was and who I had become in that time. And as he would say, I miss the old Mandy, I would think that makes me sad because I love the new Mandy. I feel the most me I've ever felt in my life, but recognize that meant that the old Mandy had to die in some ways. And I'll never forget as we discussed this, and there were tears and there was some really honest, poignant moments when I just said, well, I guess you get to decide if you can learn to love this version of me. And I will always love Brent Green. And I will always love that he decided that he would learn to love this new version of me. And I expect that there will be several more new versions of me. And I expect that there will be several more new and improved versions of him as well. I read that to love someone is to attend 1,000 funerals of who they used to be. And I think that's very true. The song for this is Fix You by Coldplay. It's an epic song. Death and Rebirth. Well, I recorded this entire thing and it's an hour and 20 minutes long. So to save your sanity, I'm going to put it into 2 episodes. Unless you love giant long episodes, I'm not sure. Let me know. But for today, we'll go through half of what I've learned in life. And next week, you can tune in for the other half. We do have the Salt Cave verified. I verified it just barely. I believe the cost will be $25. It's on July 8th. That's for an hour-long seminar about the Hymn of the Pearl and an hour-long sound bath with Holly Draper at Purify Wellness Center, which is the greatest place in the world. So we look forward to that. If you'd love to come on tour, we'd love to have you. And more than anything, wishing you a wonderful Mother's Day. Again, Jared has that amazing, amazing presentation about your Heavenly Mother. And that can be found at forbiddenadventure.com. It's right on the homepage there. I would encourage you to give that a listen as well. All the more reason for me to cut this one a little shorter to give you time to connect, because she is something that he explains is in your heart and that you experience it. Wishing you all so much love and light. Have a great, great birthday week.
Thank you for joining us for Reflecting Light with Mandy Green. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a good rating and share it with your friends. And remember, your light makes the world a brighter place. Share it.